The Boston Red Sox picked up their fourth consecutive series win. They've won 9 of their last 11 games, and they are currently in a playoff picture. It hasn't been all that pretty, though, of course. As we know, Rafael Devers was traded. The offense, all of a sudden, has been horrendous. 3 runs today, zero yesterday, and then two on Monday. But it goes to show that pitching is the most important thing in baseball. We saw Giolito on Monday toss a gem. We saw Brian Wu for the Mariners toss a gem last night. And then Crochet today was just absolutely electric, man. His stuff was filthy. That sweeper was moving. It was unhittable. And the 1 run he gave up was unearned, or at least it should have been. I'm going to check that. It was earned. How is that earned? How is Jaron Duran dropping a fly ball and letting a double happen on Crochet? I don't know, but the pass ball obviously was on Crochet. That was actually his first of the season. But the Sox, they're above 500. They're winning games. They've got a lot of continuity as well. They're rallying around the Devers trade. And of course, they got their asses kicked last night. But this was definitely a comeback game. It's just win at all costs, no matter how it is. And the offense, it's been one of the best in baseball all season, so we can kind of cut it some slack. Not every offense is going to be red hot for 162 games, but the bullpen deserves a lot of credit, especially Garrett Whitlock. I mean, he hasn't given up a run since, May 26th? And then, of course, Aroldis Chapman also tossed an inning and, unsurprisingly, did not give up a run. And then Weissert came in and ended up closing it off. I didn't actually see the 8th inning because I was doing some work for my business. But no runs given up, so I'll take that, man. The back end of the bullpen continues to be dominant. Marcelo Meyer hit a home run, his fourth of the season. Trevor Story also hit a home run, 402 feet. Ball was absolutely hit on a rope. Super impressive by Story. He actually was moving a little bit back in the box so that way he could get to those inside fastballs and sinkers, and that's exactly why he was able to drive it out. In terms of what's next for the Red Sox, well, that's going to be the thing. Is they've got a really difficult West Coast trip. They're already in Seattle, and now they're going to go over to, of course, San Francisco and take on the Giants. There is an off day on Thursday, which is absolutely music to my ears. You love to see that, and the Sox are going to get a day to just recover. The reason why that's so important is it pushes Crochet back essentially a day, and it just means he could pitch sooner. So now all of a sudden you get him in game 2 against the Angels, which is the second game of the series. I mean, of course, the Red Sox, they beat the Mariners in game 1, and then game 2, they had Buehler. He didn't pitch well. He got lit up, was so bad. He even said he was just embarrassed. That middle game is just huge to have your ace. But you also get Buehler. He's going to get his, hopefully, payback on Monday, the first game in that series, and then Hunter Dobbins in the third game. I mean, Dobbins has pitched well, but he is a rookie. And then, of course, Bayo has been pitching well. So is Giolito. The question is, how long can this continue? Because the offense eventually is going to get going, but can the pitching continue to be lights out? Because we are going to have a conversation as we get closer to the trade deadline in a month about should the Red Sox go and get another starter. It's going to be a matter of who's available and what's it going to cost, but the Sox, now that they traded Devers, have opened up a ton of salary, and on top of that, they have the best farm system in baseball, so you'd have to imagine that they're going to be super aggressive at the trade deadline. All reports are pointing towards that they are, which is very, very good. And then also after the Giants and the Angels, the Red Sox are taking on the Blue Jays and the Reds. The Sox just aren't catching a break. They continue to play teams above 500 over and over again. I mean, the last bad team we played was the Braves, but the Braves kind of just got bad all of a sudden. They weren't terrible when we played them. So, and then like after that, before that was the Brewers and like the Orioles. The Orioles was really the last actually terrible team we played. How are the Brewers doing this season? The Brewers are 39-35. They're far from bad. They beat the Cubs yesterday. They lost to the Cubs yesterday. I was going to say because PCA had an absolute 450-foot nuke off of the scoreboard. So the Sox, they're playing good teams. That's what makes it even more sweeter is that they're winning series against good teams. So I'm super excited about that. But the story of this game was absolutely Garrett Crochet and just how filthy he was. Of course, the pig, as our broadcast likes to call him. Crochet, if it wasn't for Tarek Skubal, Max Fried deserves a lot of credit too. But if it wasn't for Tarek Skubal, I'm pretty confident Crochet would win Cy Young. He's got a 2.20 ERA, 125 Ks. He's got a whip just over 1 at 1.03, and that record doesn't matter at all for that. But he is 7-4. But I mean, Crochet just seems like he's not giving up more than 2 runs ever. I mean, legitimately, he's been that good. He went almost 9 innings. He almost had a complete game shutout. But if it wasn't for Aaron Judge being the best player on the planet, then he would have been able to accomplish that. Only 4 hits against the Yankees in a hitter-friendly park like Fenway. And, of course, teams are going righty heavy, too. You're not really seeing many lefties going up against Crochet. They're setting their lineup against all righties. And that's the most impressive thing about Crochet is teams are game planning for him and they still don't have an answer. And he just has so many pitches to beat you with. He's got that changeup. Of course, he's got the sweeper, the four seam, the sinker. I mean, man, that sweeper, though, the way it was moving, especially in on righties, it was absolutely unhittable today. And, Crochet is one of the few pitchers in baseball that when he's got his stuff working like that, he's legitimately unhittable. I mean, if it wasn't for Duran missing a fly ball on left, he wouldn't have given up a run. And that's just back-to-back incredible starts for Crochet. And I'm super pumped up about that trade. And I'm watching the highlights. You guys aren't going to see this on the screen, but I'm watching the highlights from Crochet against the Yankees. And just to see how pissed off he was with that pitch against Judge. And it wasn't even really a miss. It was 100 on the inside corner part of the plate. But that's just Aaron Judge. And Crochet's next start will be against the Angels, of course, in the second game, like I said. The Sox are in a playoff spot right now. Having beaten the Mariners 2 of 3, they're ahead of them, which is fantastic. The thing is, though, is that the Rays, the Blue Jays, and the Yankees are all ahead of the Red Sox. So 4 of the 5 teams in the division are in the playoff picture right now. The Orioles are 6-4 in their last 10. I don't think we can necessarily count them out, just given how much talent they have, like an Adley Rutschman, a Jackson Holliday, and a Ryan O'Hearn. They got a lot of good players. I don't really think they're going to make much noise, but hopefully for our sake, they can beat the Rays tonight, and that will get us even closer to Tampa Bay. The Yankees haven't scored in about 30 innings. They haven't led a game since Thursday, which, wow, that's actually pretty ridiculous to think about. So we played them over the weekend. And, yeah, I mean, the last time the Yankees even scored, guys, was Saturday. It was against us. It goes to show how much of a slump they're in. You think the Sox are in a slump. Imagine if we went 30 innings, 29 innings without scoring a run. Like, that is just absolutely preposterous. But Walker Buehler, I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack. He was garbage last night, but it is baseball. Even the best of the best can have an off start. Hopefully he can bounce back. Because Giolito, 2 starts ago, his last start was good. His start before that was good, but before that he was bad. Like Bayo has had some bad starts where he walks a lot of batters. But I'm just hoping for consistency because that's been the thing is the Red Sox defense has been trash and also their pitching has been trash. But now of course, the pitching is starting to get it going. Yoshida's coming back. I'm looking at a Willie Abreu who's coming back, and Marcelo Meyer just continues to rake. He's hitting the ball hard. Roman Anthony also got on base a couple of times today. You'd have to imagine eventually he's going to get going. I think Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer, and Roman Anthony should be full-time players. I'm kind of coming on board because if the Red Sox don't make the playoffs, but they're also playing the young guys and developing, and they've got the best farm, at least it'll make me feel a little bit better. But in terms of the DH position, Corey did say that he's thinking about hitting Yoshida against righties, and then of course, Rep Snyder against lefties. That's probably the best case scenario, to be honest with you. I mean, Yoshida's making a lot of money. Same thing with Trevor Story, but Trevor Story's gotten it going after a really slow start to the month last season, of course, in May.